Hello guys, welcome back to our 10th lecture of this IIT Jam Max series of lectures, and we are basically discussing now eigenvalues and eigenvectors. In the previous two classes we have discussed eigenvalues and eigenvectors. This class also is a mixture of theory and previous year questions. So let's move on to the lecture. So yeah, I think I have something to tell you. There is an Telegram link given in the comment section. Those who are new to this particular series of lectures, you can join that particular Telegram channel for getting updates and other materials. And also please like and share the videos if you like these videos, so that other people also will get a benefit of this. And you can show your love towards these lectures by giving a lot of comments and likes and sharing these lectures, so that it gives a motivation for me to work for you. So let us go to the lecture. Now we'll start the lecture. If you see the lecture 8 in our this series, where I've given a problem, start with a problem of eigenvalues. So I just wanted to discuss something like that. If you know that if lambda is an eigenvalue of a matrix A, suppose, then what can you tell about the eigenvalue of A square? So that is the question. So we know that if for an x not equal to 0 in f power n, there exists and lambda belongs to the field f such that Ax is equal to lambda x, then we say that lambda is the eigenvalue of this matrix A and x is the corresponding eigenvector, right? So now if I am going to multiply the left hand side of the matrix with again and same matrix A, what do I get? I get something like this, right? This is nothing but A square x, which is equal to this is simply a constant, right? Lambda is a constant, x is an n by 1 vector, A is an n by n vector. It's a continuation of the previous lecture, so I think you'll follow that. So this is something like A times 5 or 5 times A we'll write, right? A into 5 means A is a matrix and 5 is a scalar. So here we have lambda times A. So that lambda I can write to the left hand side, right? And again, since A is lambda is an eigenvalue of the matrix A, Ax is equal to lambda x. So this Ax I can rewrite as lambda x. So I get A square x is equal to lambda into lambda x, and lambda into lambda is something lambda square. So I get A square x is equal to lambda square x. So what do you mean by that? If lambda is an eigenvalue of A, then lambda square is an eigenvalue of A square. Similarly, you can go forward multiplying left side by A and doing the same process. You can see that lambda power n will be an eigenvalue of A power n, right? Now what about the eigenvalue of A inverse? Do you have any idea of A inverse? So what you can do is we'll do something similar to that. Let me keep this part. Okay, so if lambda is an eigenvalue of A, we need to know what is the eigenvalue of A inverse in terms of lambda, whether we can find or not. So I'll just multiply. What can I do from here? Yeah, I can just multiply it by A inverse. What I get is A inverse lambda x, and this becomes I into x. This becomes A inverse lambda x. Yeah, obviously I can write it's a constant. Lambda is a constant, so I can write lambda times A inverse x. And if I divide both the sides by lambda, what I get is 1 by lambda times Ix is equal to A inverse x, or I get A inverse x is equal to 1 by lambda x. So the question is whether lambda is not equal to 0, because I have taken 1 by lambda here. Obviously lambda is not equal to 0 because A inverse x is only for non-singular matrices, and for non-singular matrices never eigenvalue will be 0. For singular matrices at least one eigenvalue is 0, but for non-singular matrices never the eigenvalue is 0, because product of eigenvalues is the determinant of the matrix. If any of the eigenvalues becomes 0, then the product will become 0. That means determinant will become 0. That means what? A is no more a non-singular matrix. Okay, so for A inverse, that means what we get is 1 by lambda is a eigenvalue. So same thing you can go on for finding a power minus 2, a power minus 3 and so on. You can do in that particular fashion. Now what I want to tell, another thing what I want to tell is basically a general result which you can keep in mind and which we already used in that this lecture 8. We have used that particular result. That result was nothing but if lambda is an eigenvalue of a matrix A, then if you take any polynomial in X, okay, something you take a polynomial in X, then we can say that P of lambda will be an eigenvalue of P of A. If lambda is eigenvalue of A, then P of lambda is an eigenvalue of P of A. So what I mean by that is, suppose you take A to be an 3 by 3 matrix and you got the characteristic equation, sorry, not characteristic equation. Suppose you have something like a polynomial P of X to be, say, x square minus 3, then if lambda is an eigenvalue of A, what we can tell is P of lambda. That means if you find P of A, what is P of A? P of A means A cube. I'm just substituting, instead of X I'm substituting A cube minus 3 times I you have to replace here. Okay, A cube minus 3I. Then what we can tell is P of lambda is an eigenvalue of P of A. What is P of lambda? From this what you get P of lambda to be lambda square minus 3. So lambda square minus 3 will be an eigenvalue of this matrix. So if lambda is an eigenvalue of A, suppose if I ask you what is the eigenvalue of A square plus A, you can see there is a polynomial here. P of X is x square plus x, right? And this is actually the corresponding P of A. I started with this one, right? I found the polynomial. Then what I can tell? I can tell about the eigenvalue of this, provided lambda is an eigenvalue of A. If lambda is an eigenvalue of A, then P of lambda, that is lambda square plus lambda, is the eigenvalue of P of A. I hope it's clear. So that is a result what we used in the first problem. So this is an interesting result which you can prove also. Similar arguments what we did previously in this lecture, you can do that. Okay. So now I just want to tell that particular thing because I did not tell the theory part before getting into this particular section. I did some problems there. Okay. Now we'll discuss few more problems before going to our next theory section in this. So the problem what I'm going to give is a related problem. If you see question number 53, which I've given you, the sheet what is given to you in the Telegram link down. I'll just give the question first. You can see that it's a 53rd question. Let A be a 3 by 3 real matrix with the eigenvalues are given to us as 1, 2 and 3, and let B is given as A inverse plus A square. Then we are asked to find the trace of the matrix B. Okay, so suddenly what comes to our mind is that you will think like, yeah, so just now we learned if lambda is an eigenvalue of A, then eigenvalue of B will be 1 by lambda plus lambda square, right? A inverse corresponds to 1 by lambda and A square corresponds to 1 by lambda, sorry, lambda square, and you will do the problem directly. So that is in fact not a true thing. So I told you that we have if A lambda is an eigenvalue of A, then P of lambda is an eigenvalue of P of A, provided P is a polynomial. Okay, that has to be kept in mind. So here it is not true, but we are going to use something similar to solve this problem. So you can see in this problem we are given the eigenvalues of A. So A, we are given the eigenvalues as 1, 2 and 3. So what are the eigenvalues of A inverse? It is 1 by lambda. So 1 by 1, 1 by 2, 1 by 3. What are the eigenvalues of A square? Lambda square. So 1 square, 2 square, 3 square. So 1 square is 1, 2 square is 4 and 3 square is 9. But there is one property of trace of matrices, that trace of A plus B two matrices is similar to what? Trace of A plus trace of B. Just add the matrix and take the trace is equivalent to just take the trace and add that. So using this concept you can finish up, because you know that trace of matrix is equal to sum of the eigenvalues, right? So that is another property what we have seen in the previous lectures. So you can see what is trace of. So you are asked to find trace of A inverse plus A square. So it is equal to trace of A inverse plus trace of A square. What is trace of A inverse? Just add these three, what you get? 1 plus 1 by 2 plus 1 by 3. That is the trace of A inverse. And what is trace of A square? Sum of eigenvalues, right? So 1 plus 4 plus 9. So what will you get that? So you just take the LCM out here and I think you can get it as 95 by 6. So this is the correct option in this problem. So I tell you that we just keep in mind that particular result regarding that polynomials, because don't make mistakes. Okay, so that's why I've done this problem right after that, discussing that particular concept. So let's move on to the next question. It is also question number 49 in the sheet. So you can see we are given a matrix P and we are asked to find the product of the eigenvalues of P inverse. So looking at this problem, we will think it's actually a very tough problem, but it is also a very simple problem. Just you have to use some small basic ideas to solve this thing. So it's 3 by 3 matrix, and can you see what is the determinant of this matrix? Let's find out the determinant of this matrix. You can see why I am doing this, I'll tell you. It's a small idea what I felt. Here when you find determinant, I'm going to explain throughout this particular first column. So 1 times minus 20 minus 5 into 4 is minus 20 minus minus 18. So what do you get here? You get something like 1 times minus 20 plus 18, that is minus 2, right? So now you can see, you know that determinant of P will be the product of the eigenvalues, right? 3 eigenvalues, product will be determinant of P, is equal to minus 2. What about the eigenvalues of P inverse? Will be 1 by lambda 1, 1 by lambda 2 and 1 by lambda 3. And product of the eigenvalues of P inverse will be equal to the determinant of P inverse, right? So it should be something like this. And this is nothing but 1 by lambda 1 times lambda 2 times lambda 3. And what is this lambda 1 times lambda 2 times lambda 3? We already found it to be minus 2. So we got determinant of the product of eigenvalues of P inverse is basically what? Is nothing but our 1 by minus 2. So the idea we have used is we just used the product of eigenvalues determinant of P. We found out determinant of P. We got determinant of P to be minus 2, and we know that the eigenvalues of P inverse has to be 1 by lambda 1, 1 by lambda 2 and 1 by lambda 3 if lambda 1 and lambda 2 and lambda 3 are eigenvalues of P. And we just ask the product of these eigenvalues. So if you multiply, we get 1 by lambda 1, lambda 2, lambda 3, and this value already we calculated as minus 2. So the answer to this question is minus 1 by 2. Okay guys, I think you are enjoying these problems, because these are like problems which we'll feel it's a bit difficult, but those are in fact simple problems. If you know certain ideas, you can easily solve such kind of problems. So let us move on to the next problem. So let's see the next question. You can see here we are given that M be a matrix, 2 by 2 matrix containing entries 2, 3, 1, 1, and which of the following matrix equations does M satisfy? So that is the question. You have to find which of the following equations M will satisfy. So looking at this problem, what comes to my mind is basically the Cayley-Hamilton theorem. I think same thing should come to your mind also. So we need to decide about the eigenvalues first, and then we should use the Cayley-Hamilton theorem so that we can find the answers in this case. So let's do the problem. If you take the matrix here, and you just find out a minus lambda I, you get this, and determinant of a minus lambda equal to 0 means 2 minus lambda into 1 minus lambda minus 3 is equal to 0. So you get 2 minus lambda minus 2 lambda uh, plus lambda square minus 3 is equal to 0, or lambda square minus 3 lambda minus 1 equal to 0. I hope what I've done is correct. Yeah, I think it's correct. So now every matrix satisfies its characteristic equation. So the characteristic equation we have found, and we just substitute m for lambda. We get m square minus 3m minus I should be equal to, if it is 1 you have to give I, if it is 3 or k you have to give ki. So you get m square minus 3m minus is equal to 0. So is there any option like that here? M square, no, not this, m square plus 3m, so it's not this also. But now we can see there's something coming in terms of m cube. So what you can do is simply multiply by m, then you can check, right? What is that? M cube minus 3m square minus m equal to 0. So, and do we have an option like that? Yes, we have an option like that. That means that this matrix satisfies this equation, correct? Because already we know this part is equal to 0. So if you multiply with again an m, again you're going to get 0 itself, right? That is what I've done here. There's no confusion like why we are multiplying with m. Already we know that this is 0, and that something we are multiplying with again 0, we have to get 0 itself. But when you multiply with m, left hand side is basically this, and that is 0. That is what is given to us, right? Simple question, right? Okay, I hope again you are enjoying. Let us do the next questions. So let's move on to the next next question. That is, if the determinant of n by n matrix A is 0, then a rank of A is less than equal to n minus 2. Trace of A is 0. Third option is 0 is an eigenvalue of A, and x equal to 0 is the only solution of Ax equal to 0. Now if you take this lecture and the previous lecture, it is maybe clear to you that this option is true, because we are given determinant is 0. Determinant of the matrix is given to us as 0, and we know it's equal to product of eigenvalues, right? And if determinant is 0 and it's product of some numbers, then at least one number has to be 0. That means 0 is an eigenvalue of A is a true statement. So for singular matrices, always 0 is an eigenvalue, but we cannot tell anything about the algebraic multiplicity. It could be 1 or more than that, maybe up to n, right? Yeah, so now that option is true. Now what about the other options? What about this option? Do you have any idea about this option? So what I could tell directly is that these all options are not true. So we can give counter examples. For example, if you take this particular option and you take say n equal to 2, simple case, you take n equal to 2, you have a 2 by 2 matrix 1 2 2 4. Determinant is 0 because rank is 1 here, right? So determinant is 0. So you can see here, according to this result, the trace of A is 0. Trace is what? 1 plus 4 5. It is not equal to 0. So this option is not true. What about this? Again you take n equal to 2, you get for this particular matrix rank is 1, and here they're telling it is n minus 2. N minus 2 means n is 2 means 2 minus 2, less than rank of A is less than equal to 2 minus 2, less than equal to 0. But here we are getting 1 also, right? Greater than that. So this option is also not correct. In general, not correct. And what about the last option? That is, if x equal to 0 is the only solution of Ax equal to 0. We know that if x equal to 0 is the only solution of Ax equal to 0, we had already studied that then A should be a non-singular matrix, right? That means the rank of A is full rank, and then only we will get this as the only solution. Otherwise, we will get infinitely many solutions. So that also we have done now in this lecture and the previous lecture also in the beginning, right? So that means this option is also not correct. And here it cannot be non-singular, right? Because we are given it's a singular matrix. Determinant of A is 0 is given to us. So this will never happen. So the only correct option is option C. Okay. So now let's move to the next problem. So now let us see this particular problem. The number of distinct eigenvalues of the matrix 1 1 1. This matrix contains all the entries as 1. It's a 4 by 4 matrix and it is given as 1 2 3 and 4. So many ideas will come to your mind now. Many people will have some, at least some intuition if you have followed all the lectures what I've given till now. Because if you see this particular matrix, the rank of this matrix is actually, I will tell you this, it's a good question. Basically, it's a good question. The rank of this particular matrix is what? It is 1, right? Rank of this matrix is 1 because you just apply row transformation R2 as R2 minus R1, R3 as R3 minus R1, and R4 as R4 minus R1. It becomes a matrix like this, meaning all entries will be 0. So we have made the matrix into row echelon form and the number of non-zero rows is 1. So rank is 1, right? If rank is 1 for a 4 by 4 matrix, that is, we got rank to be 1, and it is for a 4 by 4 matrix. So determinant of this matrix will be what? 0, correct? Because full rank, then only we have, if the matrix has full rank, then only we can say the matrix is non-singular matrix. If the matrix is having less than that order n, then definitely it is going to have determinant as 0. It's going to be a singular matrix. And since determinant is 0 and product of eigenvalues is equal to the determinant, that means at least one of the eigenvalue has to be zeros, right? At least one of the eigenvalue has to be 0. That means we can confirm that we ask number of distinct eigenvalues. So one eigenvalue is 0, confirmed. Now what? Now in the lecture 8, if you remember, I have talked about something known as the largest eigenvalue, that is something known as the Perron root, or the largest eigenvalue of a particular matrix. That theorem said something like, we had a Perron-Frobenius theorem, right? It said something like, what was the theorem? Perron-Frobenius theorem. This root we call, largest root we call as Perron root also. Okay, so here if you have all the entries in the matrix as strictly positive, then the largest eigenvalue will lie between the lowest row sum and the highest row sum. Here you can see all the row sums are 4. Row sums are 4. So the largest eigenvalue will lie between 4 and 4. That means what? One of the eigenvalues is basically 4. So we got 2 eigenvalues, right? 1, 2. Now we are left out with 2 more eigenvalues. So how do we find it? So that is the challenging part now. To discuss this problem, I will introduce to you what you mean by nullity of a matrix and what has this nullity, or what this nullity has to do with the eigenspace of 0, and then we'll decide, or we can just conclude our answer here. Okay, so let us discuss nullity, then we'll come to this particular question. So what do you mean by nullity of a matrix? I think I have done it somewhere in the previous lecture, but I'll discuss. So what do you mean by a nullity of a matrix? Okay, if you take an n by n matrix, what do you mean by nullity of that matrix? So if you take A to be a matrix from MNR, then we can say that set of all x for which A into x is equal to 0 is known as the nullity of x. That means set of all x from where? X from Rn, where Ax equal to 0. Ax means A is already an n by n matrix. You have to find set of all vectors x for which Ax is equal to the 0 vector. 0 vector means completely 0 entries in that particular column. So this is what you mean by nullity of that particular, the null space, not nullity. First let me define what is null space. This is actually the null space of the matrix A, and the dimension of the space is known as the nullity. Nullity of A is defined as the dimension of the null space of A. So for simple example, if you take our matrix 1 2 2 4, you have to find set of all x for which ax is equal to 0. That means set of all x for which a into x is equal to 0, right? A into x we are getting equal to 0. So this is solved. I think we have already solved in the previous classes. We have only one equation here, that is x1 plus 2x2 equal to 0, or we get x1 equal to minus 2x2. So if we give x2 as 1, we will get x1 as minus 2. So this is one solution. So that means this is actually an element for which a into x is equal to 0, right? That means this belongs to where? This belongs to the null space of A. So if I'm going to give any, like if I give 2 times this matrix, this particular vector, that is minus 4, 2, you can check if I put this also here. That means if I put minus 4, 2, what happens? 1 into minus 4 plus 2 into 2, 0. 2 into minus 4 plus 4 into 2, again 0. That means you can see this is also belonging to this null space of A. So any vector of the form k times minus 2, 1 will be actually in the null space of this particular matrix A. In this case, I'm telling, and that means that any vector in the null space will have this property. So any such vector can be generated using this guy alone. That means k times minus 2, 1. So this will form as a basis for this particular null space, and you can also see if I put x equal to 0, 0, this equation is satisfied, right? So 0, 0 also belongs to this null space. Okay, so we got a null space of A now, and with one vector capable of generating all other vectors. So the basis is one basis has only one vector, and the dimension is therefore the what is that dimension? Dimension is nothing but the cardinality of basis. So we are getting it is equal to 1. So in this case, we get nullity of this matrix is nothing but equal to 1. This is what we mean by nullity of a particular matrix. Okay, so we have already discussed something known as rank nullity theorem in our previous classes. In initial classes, when we discussed rank and all, that is equal to number of columns. That is the rank of A plus nullity of A is equal to number of columns. For this matrix, you know, rank is 1, number of columns is 2. So 1 plus nullity of A is 2. So nullity of A should be 2 minus 1 equal to 1. You can find using this technique also. So this we have discussed before when we discussed our rank of a matrix concept. So I want to try a few more problems on how to find the nullity of a matrix. So you take some 3 by 3 matrices and try to solve and find the nullity of the matrices. Okay, just keep in mind. Definitely do that problem because you should not have further any confusions there. So now I'll define what is null space of a matrix. Has to do with the eigenspace of 0 eigenvalue. Okay, so now if you have a matrix A, an n by n matrix A, and suppose if 0 is an eigenvalue of A, then the nullity of A, it is nothing but defined as basically the eigenspace of our lambda equal to 0. Okay, so that means the nullity, so not eigenspace of lambda equal to 0, the dimension of the eigenspace of lambda equal to 0, or we can tell something like it is nothing but the geometric multiplicity of the eigenvalue lambda equal to 0. So if you have a singular matrix, definitely you have one eigenvalue of 0, and if you know geometric multiplicity of that particular eigenvalue, then that will act as the nullity of that particular matrix. So provide these things there, that is 0 is an eigenvalue of A. So now we have seen one result that geometric multiplicity is always less than equal to the algebraic multiplicity, and it is greater than equal to what? Greater than equal to 1. So now if you go back to our problem, what we were discussing, you had something like a matrix like this, right? When we found that rank of this matrix was 1, so rank of this matrix plus nullity of, so let us take it as A. Rank A plus nullity A will be equal to number of columns, that is 4. So rank of A is 1, so nullity has to be what? So nullity of A is 4 minus 1, that is 3, right? So what we get is geometric multiplicity of the eigenvalue 0 is 3. The geometric multiplicity of the eigenvalue 0 is 3. So if geometric multiplicity of eigenvalue is 3, what is algebraic multiplicity? Algebraic multiplicity means how many times a particular eigenvalue is repeated when you find the solutions for the characteristic equation. So if am is x, then x has to be greater than or equal to 3. That means it can be 3 or above. Am is greater than or equal to 3. That is, it can be 3 or above. We already found that one eigenvalue is 4, the Perron root. Then we found, since a singular matrix 0 is an eigenvalue, now we are going to see how many times 0 is going to be repeated. So here you can see we already got that 0 is repeated at least 3 times. So but we already have a 4 by 4 matrix. It can have only 4 eigenvalues, out of which we already found one eigenvalue as 4, and then there are remaining only 3 eigenvalues are there, and we found that the algebraic multiplicity of 0 can be greater than or equal to 3. That means what? It has to be 3. That means the matrix has eigenvalues as 4 and 0 repeated 3 times. So from that what we can conclude? So for that particular problem we can conclude that the number of distinct eigenvalues of the matrix is basically how much? 2, right? We got 2 distinct eigenvalues. So that particular problem we have the answer as 2. Okay. So now we have one more question. It is actually 55th question given in the sheet. So let us discuss that question. Given that an eigenvector of the matrix M is equal to 2, 1, 0, 0, 2, 1, 0, 0, 2 is which of the following? So first option is 1, 0, 0, second one is 0, 1, 0, third one is 0, 0, 1, and fourth one is 2, 2, 2. So without solving this problem directly, I think it is simpler for us to just multiply and check, because you can see the eigenvalues are basically what? It's an upper triangular matrix, so eigenvalues are 2, 2 and 2, right? Because the eigenvalues are nothing but the diagonal entries for upper triangular, lower triangular or diagonal matrices. So here you should get something like this. If you take this matrix and you multiply with the first vector, you must be able to get it equal to 2 times the same vector. Then only you can say it's an eigenvector, right? A times x is equal to lambda times x. So is it true? If you multiply, what you get? 2 times 1, yeah, it's 2, then 0, 0, 0, yeah, I think it is correct. This is the correct option, because we are getting exactly true. You can just verify it. Now if we check the second one, 2, 1, 0, we multiply with the second one, whether you get equal to 2, same thing will you get 2 times 0 plus 1 times 1, but here we are getting 0, right? So that is not correct. Now if you take the next option, multiply with 0, 0, 1, whether you get 2 times 0, 0, 1, just multiply 0, 0 times 0, 2 times 0, 1 times 1. No, it's not also not correct, because this entry should get as 0 times 0 plus 2 times 0 plus 1 times 1 should be 1, but here we are getting 0. that is not correct. And the last option is again 2 1 0 0 2 1 0 0 2. You multiply with 2 2 2 and check whether you get it as 2 times 2 2 2, 2 times 2 plus 4 plus 2. Yeah, the first entry you can see 2 times 2 is 4 plus 2 6, but here we get 4, so it's also not correct. That means that we have only one correct option here, and these are all not correct options. So I think we can wind up for today, and we'll discuss the remaining questions the next class. And I think from the next class I'll be giving some theory first. That is, we'll be discussing for special matrices. There are many simple ways in which we can find the eigenvalues and eigenvectors and all those things. So those things will be covered first in the next lecture, and after that we'll do some problems which were left out in this section. And after completing that, I'll be going to similar matrices and diagonalization concepts, because those kinds of problems are also available in this section of eigenvalues and eigenvectors. Okay. So I hope you enjoyed the videos, and I hope you enjoyed this video and the questions. So I would like you to please prepare a bit more, try to solve a few more problems from outside, some books and all those stuff, so that you get a bit more support. So thank you for watching this video, and please like and share the videos if you like them, and do comment your doubts in these videos so that I can help you. And as I told you, please share these videos to others also, so that it is useful for others also to get a course like this. So whatever questions I am solving are all previous JAM questions, and theory part I am trying to give you maximum theory part which is required for this IIT exam. So thank you for watching this video, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.